I was born in Queens, New York, and grew up there. Moved into the city with the marriage, first marriage, and have lived here ever since. That was around 1960. That's when I started collecting, because of Jean Moreau in Jules and Jim, the film. When the character aged, the people who made the film aged her body, her self, her look, and gave her a pair of eyeglasses. And I thought that was just the cleverest thing I'd ever heard of. I didn't realize when anybody ages they have to have eyeglasses. But I found it fascinating that the main character of this film had them, and I had to have a pair. Found a place on Lexington Avenue that did have a pair, just like the ones that Jean Moreau wore in the film. Had my lenses put in them and thought I was very spiffy. It was fun. Someone would find something and they'd say, oh, well, you must have this to fit in with your other one pair. So it was one and then two and then three, but no more than that until the time we went to the antique shop up on Cape Cod, where somebody had a pair of eyeglasses that fit into a little case that would pin onto a teacher's dress. I asked the woman how much she wanted to sell it, and it was $7.50, and I thought that was just something I couldn't spend. Until a friend of mine said, well, if you had a collection, it would be different. And when I heard the word collection, I knew I had a mission. So after that, I was a collector. And then it began in order. I would just, wherever I found them, I would have them. There are probably 6 or 8 collectors in New York City. Most of them are ophthalmologists. Some are optometrists. Some are more interested in the machines rather than the eyeglasses themselves. But it's about 6 or 8 people. Then there are probably about 40 collectors in the U.S. who are serious, who have many, many pairs of eyeglasses. Some have written books about them. Some keep their collections out in public view at their homes or at their offices. And the Brits have a very large group, probably about 100 Brits, probably about 300 people from the continent. And they're very serious collectors. The New York groups meet every year in April. They sometimes do tours in the early fall. I can't travel so much anymore. The French collection, that was the main collection in Paris, that's now in the mountains in the Alps. So I'm just not allowed to go there. So I won't see that collection again. But it's okay, I've seen them. Well, my glasses. I have a pair right here. I have 2 for walking around the street and 1 for reading these articles on snow goggles. And there's a German book about eyeglasses, Brillen. They're quite beautiful. And they often have illustrations. They're really quite lovely. There you go. Well, the large case is very much like a commercial eyeglass display from an optometrist shop, and it works perfectly for me. The shells are all glass, so that the light could come from the top and light most of them. Or I have put in a good light in this room. It helps me a good deal. That case has to be cleaned periodically. Well, they all have to be cleaned periodically, but not a lot. It's not heavy maintenance. It's fun to do it because it reminds you of things that you might not have seen for several visits to that chest. I think people who don't know about eyeglasses would be rather bored by it, and I certainly don't blame them for that. They have no interest in them. Collectors like to see these, but my collection is not museum quality. Some pieces are pretty good. So mine is somewhere in the mid-range. Those who have collections all over the country will have things that are a bit more scholarly. I just love everything about eyeglasses, so I'll have a lot of one kind because they were easy to get at one point. Now they're difficult to find. You have to do it on the internet. There's no longer some place to buy things in England, those little markets. In the very beginning, in the 1960s, it would be a strip mall somewhere where a bunch of station wagons would pull up and open the back of the station wagon, and everybody would have a cigar box full of old eyeglasses or whatever they were selling. And that was fun. That was the most fun. It's just one of those accidents. I saw them, had to have them, developed this passion for them, and it's not stopped.